Sai Ram. Back in school, every time there was a session to be done on stage and you get your mic to speak, the teachers would always pick me to go after lunch. I used to wonder why. And I could never ask during my course, but at the end of it, I asked my teacher, why would you always pick me to go after lunch? He says, you have such a voice that will wake up anyone who is sleeping, he said. So hopefully that helps if anyone is feeling sleepy today. We talked in the morning about Swami's omnipresence, Swami's love, and I'm sure all of you have had your own experiences of how Swami has been playing a part in your lives and in what you see around you. It's a beautiful little detail about how Swami is, and it's always curious for every one of us as to what does Swami do when he is free? What does he do with all the letters that he takes? Why does he have to take letters if he really is God and he knows everything about? And this was one question I had in my mind too. Because every day, if you see Swami, irrespective of where he is, be it Prashantinalayam, be it Kodaikanal, be it Bangalore, be it a festival day, be it a special day for him, special day for the organization, if there was a VIP that day in town, whatever be the occasion, one thing that is common with any picture of Swami or any day of Swami is he collects these letters. I used to wonder what is so, and if you observe and go back into reading avatars of the past, you have never seen or heard anything like taking letters. You write to me your problems, I will read it and then solve it for you. So this is very unique to our Swami. This is very unique to Sai Avatar. And my curiosity as a young kid watching Swami take all these letters, and sometimes his hand used to well up with those letters. He would never get a chance. I mean, he is very, his frame is so small and so are his hands. So he will not be able to hold them, but he still squeezes them and then starts taking, and he cannot open his hand and take it like regular. So he opens his fingers and then you put your letter in between and he closes. He is so eager to take your letters. And sometimes, of course, you must have seen that people walking behind Swami carry them in bags. They take the whole bunch, put them in the bag and go. My curiosity and question used to be, what does Swami do with these letters? Physically, it is impossible for anyone to read these, because even if you want to read everything you collected today, you would need a couple of days. But tomorrow morning, he picks up similar number of letters all over again. So these must be shredded. That's the only thing humanly I can think of that can be done to those letters. These problems can't be solved because they're one too many and they can never be read. These were the questions I was having in my head, and I'm sure some of you must have thought of it, or maybe now I planted this dirty thought in your head as to what does Swami really do with it. And I heard of a beautiful incident that happened to one of our professors. Some of you might even have seen him, talked to him. He's still in Hyderabad. His name is Sainath, Professor M. Sainath. He used to teach physics in the university campus. And he had the good fortune of living with Swami in Swami's residence, much like how Aditya brother showed us this morning about Raja Reddy. So Sainath was someone similar who stayed with Swami in Swami's quarters, helping Swami and being there. So he narrated this beautiful incident. He had a similar thought of what would Swami do with this letter. Does Swami know what are in these letters? If he is omnipresent, if he is everything that we think he is, why would he need to read these letters to solve our problems? And one day, Professor Sainath, they happened to walk behind Swami, and Swami collected a lot of letters. So Sainath carried them in the bag, and they walked into the interview room, and Swami was sitting in the chair, and Professor Sainath and one more student were sitting in front of Swami doing Swami Padaseva. And Swami was picking letter after letter and reading it. And here is Professor Sainath thinking, okay, now you have to read all these letters so you know what is written and then you solve them. So I don't see anything divinity here now. It sounds pretty normal. And then as that thought goes on in Sainath's head, Swami asks him to hand over a bunch from the bag that he still carried into the room and asks him to pick any letter of his choice. And Sainath says, okay, let me, and then as he is thinking now, okay, now he knows what is going to come because he's been with Swami, he understood by now that, yeah, Swami understood what he's thinking and he's trying to answer. So he tried to play the game as hard as it can be. So he picked up one such letter that you can see in the bundle that is as thick as it can be, so you can't read from the outside. Just in case Swami has read it while he was taking it, or you opened and gave so he knows what is in. So he didn't want any chance for Swami to fool him that day. So he picks one such letter that he thinks is pretty solidly sealed and hands it over to Swami. And Swami says, hold it in your hand. And Sainath holds it in his hand, and Swami tells him who wrote it, when they wrote it, and what is written in it. And then Swami insists, you open that letter and read it now. Sainath says, no Swami, this is just a bad thought, monkey mind. I had a bad thought. No, I never doubted your power or your divinity. I am sure you know it. No, Swami says, read it. And Sainath again hesitates, saying, no Swami, I should not be reading it into somebody's letter written to you. He says, read it. And Sainath opens it and he cries inconsolably as he reads the letter. And what Swami has said about whom and where is it, where they come from and what is written is exactly as Swami mentioned. And then it doesn't stop there. Swami asks Sainath to go and call that particular devotee for interview, and then the story goes on. So it's important we understand the omnipresence of Lord. So in reflection after my question and listening to this incident, it's not for Swami that you have to write the problem to him. Every time he asks you to do bhajans, it's not that you sing his glory and he is more glorified because you and me sang in such great Shruti. Absolutely not. That makes no difference to him. But to whom the difference is made is you and me. While you make that effort towards thinking of God, it helps you accrue some good karma. Like Swami says, take one step towards me, I take 100 steps towards you. Shirdi Baba Avatar also has said it many times, and it's more popular. From there you see everywhere it pasted in Shirdi as well. Take one step towards me, I take 100 steps towards you. And the first time I heard of this sentence, this is the thought that occurred to me. And now at the end of my talk, you will figure out that I'm a very weirdly wired person. So as I heard this sentence, this is the thought that passed in my head. That here is one person that can take 100 steps at the speed of your one step. So he must be Superman in the first place. So you walk one, he walks 100. So if he had a Fitbit or so, it must be crashing the charts every day. And if he can take 100 steps and come towards you every time you take one, why can't he take 101? Why can't he take 101 steps and come towards you? So it's the same effort. It's just little more effort, or probably no effort, for a man who is walking 100 steps versus you learning how to walk and then walking one step towards God. And Swami beautifully summarizes this. And he's not answered me, but when I read the literature, you cannot be more clearer than this. No avatar probably has ever been more clear in his message to the humankind than this. Swami says, I have never come to give you joy. I have never come to give you sadness. Both happiness and sadness are of your own making. I am just a witness. So if happiness is also made by us, it's what we sow, that is what we reap, then what is God doing? What is the 100 steps and one step all about? Swami says, you get your happiness based on what you sow. And what you sow, the good deeds, it counts towards your good deeds when you walk towards God. That is why I insist, Bangaru, you take at least one step. So you accrue good karma, point one, so you can reap it later, so it's to your benefit. Two, you also reach me. 2 benefits out of 1 activity that you do. And I will reward you not 10 times, not 20 times, 100 times with 1 little effort that you make. Who has given more clearer message than this? Take 1 step towards me, I will take 100. And talking of Swami's omnipresence, talking of Swami's love for all of us, I'm reminded of an incident at this juncture. In Prashantinilayam, like you've seen in the morning, the setting and how it is all, and it's all marble flooring that Swami comes in every morning and evening, and devotees sit there. So that whole setting, I'm certain at this point in time, you can imagine how it is, how energetic and how electric that whole feeling is when 20, 30 boys start chanting Vedam, and then Swami walks in majestically, and then you have the whole auditorium, the whole Kulwant hall, chanting his name and singing loudly and so on and so forth. Brother was telling about 50 of us trying to do something in Swami's name, and that would have multiple results positively. Now imagine 30,000 of us chanting Swami's name. Imagine the energy and the electric, the power that is generated in Kulwant hall. And that is a sitting in Kulwant hall. And this is one day, just to give you the calendar that we understand of Swami, not that we do of every little thing that he does. But in the year, if you split the year into 12 months, Swami stays in Prashantinilayam for nearly 8 to 9 months every year. So that's actually quite a hot place, Prashantinilayam, to be in, because it's surrounded by hills. So you're literally like a pressure cooker when during the hot months. But Swami decided to be there for 8 to 9 months. During the summer months, again, Swami mentioned this just in case if that thought passes in your head. During the summer months, Swami goes to Kodaikanal or Bangalore, Whitefield, which are much not as hot as Prashantinilayam would be. And Swami did explain, it's not for me that I'm going, but the devotees would sit, even after I tell them not to do, they would sit for hours and hours waiting for me on the asphalt outside, and that's not good for me, and Swami does not like it. So if I go to Vrindavan, devotees here get some rest, you can take care of your family and other things, and I can also grant people darshan there in Bangalore. So that's the reason why Swami goes in the first place. But then, just to understand the calendar, Swami stays 8 to 9 months in Prashantinilayam. The very hot months, starting from March or so, Swami would go to Bangalore or Kodaikanal or both sometimes, and come back during maybe just before Guru Purnima or during Guru Purnima, June, July again. So this is how Swami moves around every year. Usually, this is a generic year. Swami, of course, has made many exceptions over the years. So this is one such year that Swami decided to go to Bangalore. So during the build-up to Swami leaving, because that is not a great day for Prashantinilayam, because people will miss him here, not everybody can tag along Swami and go to Vrindavan or wherever he's going. So some of us will have to stay back, especially the businessmen and people working in the trust. And of course the students, if the school year is not over yet. So the talk is on that Swami would leave Puttaparthi any time and would go to Bangalore, but nobody knows which day exactly, because Swami would tell you that himself. So there was anticipation, and so people were asking him, Swami, since you are leaving, and since this also happened, especially the students, since this also happens to be the last year we will spend in the college, we will do some programs this year. Can we put a play in front of you? Can you grant us an interview as a class so all of us can come and see you and take some pictures and so on? So this was going on. And one such day, they asked Swami, one of the student group, Swami, when are you leaving so we can plan accordingly? He says, what do I know when will I leave? Ask in the ladies' shirt, they will tell you when I'm leaving. So meaning, he was just joking that that's where most of the gossip happens, and that's where they decide, even before Swami decides where and when Swami would go. And then soon the day came when Swami decided to go. So the intimation came to the hostel that Swami is leaving, say for example, tomorrow. So that particular day was announced. And I would think that was a festival day or a Sunday. I might be wrong if I say either or all, but it's one of those days when the students could come to Prashantinilayam even in the morning session. So usually on a regular day, the students do not come to Prashantinilayam during the morning session. It's only the afternoon that the students come. So this was one such day that we even came in the morning. So all of us were there in the morning. So the usual routine for Swami going to Vrindavan, if that is the day Swami leaves to Vrindavan, that boys and the devotees assemble in the morning. They all, we start the procedure with Swami coming in, the Vedam and bhajans at 9 to 9:30. And between all of this, usually during the bhajan time, because that's where you are some sort of discipline to sit in your place and not move and start running behind the car. So Swami decides to signal for the car during bhajans, and then he leaves Puttaparthi. So then you sit in your place and not run behind. So if it is between those period, not the bhajan starting and the darshan is over, that little 1 hour, then there could be more chaos. So Swami decides, this is what Swami usually does. So that's the expectation also, that today Swami will leave anytime. So the car will come and then he will leave. So bhajan started, there is no signal for car. Bhajans ended, there is no signal for car. Swami comes out after bhajans and he starts walking back to his residence. Now this could mean two things. One's plans changed, or that his plans changed, that someone is coming to meet him so he wants to stay back, or that there could be some problem on the road, there's some construction happening and he's got an intimation to hold off his travel for some more time. But there is no clear picture that has been given to the devotees yet. Swami goes and everybody disperses since the morning session is over. The students go back to the college, and there was an announcement made in the college saying Swami will leave at 1:30 this afternoon. So now, as soon as I heard of this announcement, I was already quite angry, because that was the exam season. The end of March is usually exam season and Swami is leaving. Not that you would fare well if Swami is physically present, but that's also one motivation. You can at least come back in the evening and try and give a letter to Swami saying, Swami, if you don't help me, I might even not even pass in this exam. Now Swami is also not physically there. So whom will you cry to after you finish your exam? So I have a lot of such thoughts going on in my head as to what would I do, how would I finish these exams also without you. And of course, Swami going from Puttaparthi when you have to stay in Puttaparthi is never a good thing. So I was quite angry with myself. I thought it is going to get over this morning, and that was my intention when I went for the morning session. But it was not the case. And then this announcement happens at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's quite an odd period in Puttaparthi, especially in the month of March, because it's going to be extremely hot, number one. Number two, it's an odd time because you just finished the morning session. You would have gone back, but would have finished at 9:30. So by the time you go back to your hostel or wherever you are, it would be 10:30, 11. You have your lunch, and then you need to be back in the mandir by 1:30. So you've literally had no rest. You're back to back, going back to mandir. And for the students, it's a good 3-kilometer walk from the hostel to mandir. So I was not enjoying any of it. I was thinking, Swami, you are going anyway. Why add to the pain? For making us come back again just to see you. And when Swami is going, it's no secret that he will not spend a lot of time in mandir. All that he would do is come through the mandir. The car comes through the mandir. Probably he would meet a few for 5 to 10 minutes at best, sits in the car, and the car leaves. So this is a 5 to 10 minute procedure that will process that will happen now, and that is what you are going to witness. And so much of preparation, of course, every time Swami comes up. So I was very angry with myself, and I was trying to inquire why in the first place Swami would change from a usual 9:30 start to 1:30 start that afternoon. And then someone tells me that it is Rahu Kalam in the morning, during the bhajans time, when Swami usually leaves, and he chose a time that is not Rahu Kalam. Rahu Kalam, for the starters, is not so auspicious time that you have a certain period of time every day that's not considered so auspicious. You would still get on and do your daily chores, but then if you're doing something special, like going to a school or housewarming or anything special, you would not prefer to do during that period of time. So Rahu Kalam, it was in the morning, which usually is the regular time that Swami would start. So he chose a time that is not Rahu Kalam, that is 1:30. Now, after listening to this explanation, it made me 10 times more angrier. Now here you are, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba, Kali Yuga avatar, and you are everything I can think of, and then you, of all that made you stop and change your journey, is Rahu Kalam. Now, for that slightest of the excuse that you could give, and now you're making so much of movement between people and arrangements, so you actually can leave at 1:30. So these were just thoughts in my head. I haven't shared with anyone, I haven't said it to anyone. But as my thoughts were going on, I was also getting ready to go back to Mandir at 1:30. I was in the queue. We came back to Prashantinalayam. I could get a good position, hoping to see Swami as he leaves in the car. And the car is signaled. Swami comes walking, so more of us could get darshan. And as the main gate, if you go to the first picture again, maybe, the main gate that you see right opposite Ganesha, if you come across, if the picture were to extend, there is the main gate facing Ganesha statue, and that's where Swami's car would leave from. So Swami's car comes and parks somewhere where you see here, and Swami is about to get in. As he's about to get into the car, he signals towards a few students that are sitting in his view as he is sitting in the car, and you do not really know who he calls, and that is your last opportunity to see Swami or say something to Swami. So 5 to 6 of us who were there walk and pounce on the car and waiting to see what Swami would say to whom. And then Swami picks a few letters, looks in my direction and says, Rahu Kalam Naku Kadra, Rahu Kalam Miku. He says, Rahu Kalam is not for me, Rahu Kalam is for all of you. Now this is not something that I have even expressed to anyone. We talked of omnipresence when God is sitting and watching you when you're doing it in a different place. We talked of omnipresence when God hears you when you share something with someone. We talked of omnipresence when God reads something that you have written that you have never shown him. But this is omnipresence where he reads your thought that has not even come out of your body. It's still digital. I haven't even formed or put it in a language that I can understand myself, but it's just passage of some piece of information from one cell of my brain to another cell of my brain. And God was there in between those two cells, listening to it. Tell me one place that you can escape God. Tell me one place where you can do things that you cannot have God as your witness. The omnipresence of God must be understood in its true spirit. He is present, He is present, He is present. There is no place that you can really escape where you think, okay, now God isn't watching, He's in the picture. Like that. That's the only reason I would think Swami insisted over and over again, do not associate me to this frame and form. Alone. I am beyond the form. Because the minute we associate ourselves with this form, we shut the doors of where this picture is there and do everything in the other room. And we come back and say, okay, Swami hasn't watched this yet. That's the reason Swami tried to insist on us trying to understand the omnipresence of God. I'm reminded of another incident at this point. Try to be careful with time though. This was again one such evening when Swami, this was in the year 2007, 2006 to start with, and then I will slowly move to 2007. So during the Dashara period, Dashara again is Vijay Dashami, it's a 10-day long festival. Swami sits and he orders for the Atirudra Mahayajnam and the Veda Saptaha Jnana Yajna during that time. And a lot of activities go on in Prashantinalayam during the Vijay Dashami season. And the evening, Swami used to dedicate for speeches and also his own talks. So you get a chance to listen to Swami if you're lucky for all the 10 days during the Dashera season. So this was one such evening. Swami had asked the students to put a play on one of the evenings of Dashera. And it's always a lot of energy, and you're getting a great opportunity to perform in front of Swami every time he asks you for a play. And then it's of course the senior most students in the hostel get an opportunity because they would be leaving the campus soon and so on, and of course some others as well. So this was all of that I explained, and there was a cast selected, and they